Good morning, everyone. In continuation with our JSON, in last video we have seen the introduction of JSON and how we can create JSON object and how we can create JSON string, JSON variable, JSON array, right? So today we are going to see one or two example of JSON, right? So practically today we are going to discuss about how you can parse the JSON object in a JavaScript, right? So here is one example I have written, right? So in this particular example, you can see we are storing multi-line JSON string in a JSON variable, JavaScript variable, using the new ES6 template literals, right? So here in this particular example, we are creating one JavaScript variable that is JSON, right? Here we are going to create one object that the object name is a book object, right? And these are the properties of that particular object, the name, author, year, genre, and the bestseller, right? Now, how we can convert this JSON object into the JavaScript object, right? Because we want to use this JSON object into our JavaScript. So we need to parse that. So here is the syntax of the parsing, right? So we have parse method with JSON object. So JSON.parse, here we have to pass the particular variable in which we have stored the values, right? And when this particular line is going to be executed, then all these values are going to store in this obj object, right? Now you can manipulate that. Now you can print the individual values. Now you can print all the values, right? So here I have printed two values. One is a name, another one is the author. So here, if you want to access the name, then you have to follow the hierarchy. First of all, in whichever all the values are stored. So obj, for which object, book object, which property, name property. So here name and the author will be there, right? So now if you execute this code, then you will see that name and the particular author is going to be displayed. So this is the output of that, right? So this way you can create. So this is a JSON object you can create. So as we have discussed in our last previous video, that whenever we are declaring it with the particular curly brackets, then it is an object, right? So one thing you need to remember over here, this is not a single code. So see, suppose if I put a single code, then you will see the error message over here, right? So it is known as the backtick, right? So that you have to remember. So you just need to put a backtick and then you can define your values in a multi-line. So this is all about the JSON object, right? Now let's discuss about JSON array, how you can create the JSON array. So we are parsing JSON array in a JavaScript, right? So first of all, the same way we are going to define our array values. So we are going to define array. So here you have to put a square bracket. We are going to create a fruits array, and into that we are going to put the values, right? And we are storing that in a one JSON, one JavaScript variable, right? Now we are converting JSON object into JavaScript object. So here again we need to use a parse method. You need to pass the variable. So all the values are going to store in this obj object. Now you can access this object. So here I have used different method to display the values. First method is you can just go for the console.log, right? So in a console, you will see the output. And the second way I have used over here a paragraph, right? So in a paragraph, I'm going to display all the values. So how you can display that, right? So the first of all, here I need to define the ID because I am going to find that with get elements by ID. So demo is my ID. Dot inner HTML property I'm going to change with fruits name, right? So obj, because all the values are stored in this dot fruits. Now if you execute this code, then you will see all the values are going to display over here. Now again we have used console.log, so you can see the output over here. So just go to the console. Here our object is created. Here are the fruits array with 4 elements, 0, 1, 2, 3. Length is 4. And here is the underscore underscore proto underscore underscore. So this proto variable is defined all the properties related with the particular object. You can see over here. Okay, right? So that's it, guys, for today's video. So in this video, we have learned about how you can create JSON object and JSON array, and how you can access a particular values and how you can display the output in a browser window. Thank you, guys.